What can you outsource and automate inside your salon for maximum efficiency? We're going to cover that and a ton more on today's show. Check it out. Salon owners are some of the most amazing people on planet Earth. The only problem is sometimes their hearts are so big and they give so much of themselves to their staff and guests that it creates unintended consequences. Our goal is to change the industry by elevating the way the rest of the world sees salons, spas, and barbershops and give it the credibility that it truly deserves. This is the Salon Owner Evo Revo Show. Today's podcast is brought to you by Salon Scale, allowing you to charge by what you know, not by what you feel. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Salon Evo Revo Show. I'm your host, Jason Everett, and with me is my partner in crime, Mr. Doug Campbell. What's going on, Doug?
How's it going?
Dude, glad to have you on today. We're getting deep. We're going to go full out business owner chat today, and we're going to have some chat that is not normal standardized practice in the regular world, talking about efficiencies in outsourcing and automating and probably ways you haven't thought of before. We know it's been a hot subject inside our High Performance Salon Academy. People are finding ways to hire people not in their towns to do some of their social media marketing and outsource and do some incredible things. But I want to talk about automation. And I saw a video the other day, Doug. I don't remember if it was a TikTok video or what it was, but it was talking about, and I'm going to phrase it the same way it was phrased to me, and we're going to kind of like digest it and unpack it. It said, I'm sick and tired of all of these greedy companies just money grabbing. You don't need to money grab to be a successful business. And the example that they gave was they said Arizona iced teas. I don't have one, but you know what I'm talking about, Doug, those big giant tube of teas, these big giant aluminum cans. And they said, hey, those have been 99 cents for the last however many years, whatever, 10 plus, 15 plus years. And it said, in this post said, even though the cost of aluminum has gone up, the cost of shipping has gone up, the cost of everything has gone up. And those saints, those amazing business leaders, the guys who run Arizona Iced Tea, have been able to keep the prices down. And this was the rationale, because they're not greedy like other businesses. They're not greedy. They've made enough money, so they've decided to take a hit on their profit margin to still make sure that the consumer can get a tea for 99 cents. Now, if you're a salon owner and you hear things like that, and that's in part of your narrative, you might go, oh, geez, I probably shouldn't ever raise my prices. So even though inflation's gone up, my cost of staff has gone up, my cost of products has gone up, I better keep my price the same way because I don't want to be seen as a horrible corporation raising prices just because I got to pay the bills and it's because I'm greedy, right? Like that's a narrative, Doug, that I think a lot of people like, they hear that and they believe that. And the problem is that if you own a business, not only are you in the 5 to 10% of the world or less that owns a business, but if you own $1 million business, you're in the 1% of the world that runs a business. So the narrative for the 99% of other people that are out there is usually that narrative that you just heard. But Doug, I mentioned that to you this morning. You said something very different about those non-greedy Arizona tea owners that somehow still produced it because they didn't make enough profit. Let's talk about that.
Right, and the looking out for the little guy, and it's like, well, I guess that's a good marketing ploy on their side. And so the reason, or the why Arizona Tea has been able to do that is because they've been able to automate. They found efficiencies through automation, and so they've been able to reduce their number one cost, which is employment. So if they can, because I mean, some of the automation.
Hold on, I just want to make sure you guys got that. By the way, if this is already a burn for you and your mind is getting blown right now, do me a favor and say burn or blown or something like that in the comment, because what you just said is important, Doug. You said they've been able to get there through efficiencies in automation, not because they're the good guy trying to not make profit.
Right. I mean, they're not trying to go out of business. And I believe it's a public company. If it is, they've got a fiduciary responsibility to the shareholders to make a profit. So right. I think it's just a matter of looking at how do you find efficiencies. And I think we could learn a lesson from that. I mean, it's like, they did obviously have to get their workforce has been slashed considerably, so those people no longer have jobs because that's the way of the world. I mean, it's whatever is going to work.
Side note, it's not. It's I looked it up. I wanted to make sure we know. 100% of the company is owned by a father and his two sons, so it is still a privately held company. But I think what you said, everything else what you said is accurate though, is that they still are out to make money. Let's be super clear.
Right. I mean, you don't go do things for nothing. I mean, it's
Right.
like, and it's funny how people can say, well, what profit is a fair profit and what profit's not a fair profit. It's always kind of people go after oil companies. At the end of the day, the oil
Oil
company
company.
profits about 4%.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's not crazy. And they have huge volume,
Right.
but their profit is around 4%. So I think it's just interesting because I think the other way around, where if it was business owners saying, "Well, I don't think you're worth $15 an hour. I'm going to pay you $5 an hour, and that would be okay." Um, it doesn't work that way. No one would work for that, and I
Right.
agree with them.
Right.
I agree with
It's the market is dictating the
right.
price of
It's
what
the
that
it's
is,
the
right?
the market pressure.
Yeah.
So as I've always said, hey, deal me whatever hand you want to deal me, and I will do whatever it takes to win.
Right.
So
Yeah, yeah, and
yeah,
I love that phrase. I agree with that
mhm,
1000%. I'm just Robert Kiyosaki taught me is like my job is to just learn the rules,
right, and play
figure
the
out how to
game.
win. That's it. Just learn the rules, figure out how to win. And I think on this point, Doug, is talking about this automation is so it's not that they're not greedy business owners. And again, I don't think they're greedy anyway, but just a business owner who's trying to turn a profit, which is the
Right,
whole point of running a business in the first place. The point of a business is to run a profit, employ people, and create more efficiencies in the world. What they're doing though, that was not in the phrase, that was in the marketing propaganda, if you will, that was out there, is that they've literally reduced their workforce, used more automated tools inside their business to create more efficiencies to keep their price down and still deliver a product to the consumer. So they've actually created a scenario where they potentially reduced the amount of jobs and used more automation to do
right.
so, which that story is not as cool to tell.
It's the thing that people don't like, market forces, like you're talking about. Eventually, you will price yourself out of a job because automation becomes cheaper, and it's like that's part of market pressures. It's like I can't afford to pay a human being to do this or human beings to be here to do this. I need to shift and do it differently. Now that person, now there's not as much employment. Checkout people at whatever your favorite grocery store or
Right? Yeah, the
you know,
checkers we're down to less checkers because they put
right.
in
And
automated
sometimes there'll
system.
be, you go to Home Depot, there'll be one person, live person, and 15
Right.
automated
Check
places
out.
for you to check out. Well, they dramatically cut their labor costs because it got too high. So a lot of people price themselves out of a job.
Right.
So I think it's just, looking at those things. How can you do it? So inflation is here. It's real. You're having to pay more money to get people to work. And part of the way that
And more
settles
money for
itself
goods and
is
services that you're purchasing for the
right.
business.
Right? So prices will go up and automation will come in. So the more it's going to put pressure on more and more automation. And so
Mhm.
as salon owners and spa owners, I think we need to look at that. How can we leverage our software? Are we leveraging our software to do the most that it can?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times we don't really leverage it the way that we could. So I think, are we leveraging that software? Is it doing the most that we can? And I don't like talking about cuts, so I like efficiencies. So how can
Mhm.
we lower our cost and increase our level of service?
Mhm.
Um, because I like a concept of taking care of your best clients as best as you can take care of your best clients, and the ones that are pain in the rear ends, get rid of them.
Yeah,
Uh,
let him go to the universe.
right, and then some of the rest of it is automation. So there's a lot of stuff, especially on the spa side and on some hair treatment sides, are what I call push button operations, where you buy the machine, whether it's infrared, whether it's
Massage.
water massage tables,
Yep.
massage chairs. There's a whole list of things that you can do. The one that I would stay away from, we did this a long time ago, like the spray tanning booths, because that is not as hands off as you think it
Yeah.
is. Because
Oh,
they're
yeah,
like,
just somebody walking in and getting a spray.
I can't get this one spot. I needed somebody to come in here and help me. And then, yeah, that
It's
one
all
gets
it's game over.
uncomfortable.
Well, yeah. Different problem. Doug and his spray tan centers didn't work out. But yes, I think if you look at this, and I want you guys to catch this, is when we talk about this like this automation nation, like what's going to happen to our country as more and more gets automated. We've spent the last 50 years figuring out how to improve manufacturing facilities and automated process and things like that. Because again, as human labor becomes more and more costly, you start to move in this conversation of, well, what can be replaced? And it's really interesting when we bring this up, Doug, about talking about water massage tables or those like pressure cuff type massages or massage
Mhm.
chairs or infrared, because there's a new franchise that's out there. I don't know if you guys have seen it in your markets. But I did a lot of work with Massage Envy back in the day, and so kind of like along that same vein, this membership-based massages. There's now a store out there called the Restore Store that does a lot of different. They're called Hyper Wellness. They do a lot of they have IV therapies, they do red light treatments, they have saunas, they have a cryo freeze, they have the pressure massages and all those other things. But what Doug and I were talking about just before we started the show today was that this idea that their main goal, or a big part of their goal, is kind of set it and forget it. Don't put a ton of employees in there. This business might have 2 or 3 employees running the entire business, that your business might have 15, 20, or 30 employees that are physical, human labor, that are getting paid to be there. And this business has 3 employees making the same amount of revenue. That's the thing, right? Is when your business can still generate a decent amount of revenue and not have to have the human capital part of it. Because that is, if you look at it, your payroll is one of the most expenses, or the biggest expenses inside your business for the most part.
Oh yeah, and it's ongoing because you've got matching taxes, you've got any benefits that you pay, you've got unemployment,
tax tips.
Right. There's a lot of things that there's a lot of, that's one for most businesses currently, and I think this is going to change over the probably next 10 to 15 years. The biggest expense that most businesses have are labor. Right. And so then how do you manage the labor? And that's why I said, that's why I think the shift is coming, because technology, and they said it has sped up from this. And I forgot the guy that came up with the formula, but it's that every 18 months, the speed of microchips double, the speed of processing doubles every 18 months. So that becomes exponential. So now the things is I don't know if you've heard your cell phone is more powerful than the whole bank of computers in a whole huge building that sent the first rocket ship to the moon.
Right. Which is wild, right? So let's do this. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about other ways that you can outsource. What are some of the efficiencies you can use in your software? What are some ads that you might be able to make to your salon to increase your profitability and potentially even reduce your labor expenses? A lot of people are having a hard time hiring, and that's what we're going to be talking about when we come back, is how do you make sure you can still provide efficiencies inside the salon, maximize your square footage, and turn it into an even more profitable business. We'll be right back after the short commercial break.
Hey, HPSA listeners. Let me ask you this. Are you tired of not knowing what your hair color is costing you on every appointment and watching it chew up your profit? Well, with Salon Scale, we take the guesswork out for you. Using a mobile app paired with a Bluetooth scale, Salon Scale will tell you exactly what your color is costing you on every bowl mix down to the gram. As you mix, Salon Scale will also digitally store your formulas and track how much product is being used in real time, so you can manage your inventory, cover your expenses, and generate more profit in your salon. Use promo code HPSA10 to get 10% off an annual subscription. Salon Scale, the new standard for mixing color.
You guys have heard us talk about it, but I'm going to bring it up again, is speaking of Salon Scale and automation. What did we used to do with color? Count the number of box tops that you took off the color. And if you had to have somebody sit there with a little scale and weigh all that color, it would be an enormous waste of time. But you add in a piece of technology, it makes it very efficient. Now, all of a sudden, instead of you having to create this giant Excel spreadsheet before you order your color's ready to order. You know exactly what you have on hand, what you need, how much color is being used. It's very, very efficient, all thanks to an innovation in technology like Salon Scale. Yes, we support, endorse, and encourage you guys to go with them and do some incredible work, because it will change your business. Our average salon's made $55,000 to $75,000 more per year in profit using the methodology we teach only inside the academy.
Yeah, so I think that's one of those things of an efficiency, right? Because in the salon world, the color has always been a muddy black hole. It's how much was used, how much is actually being ordered, how are we tracking it? And I've probably seen 50 different ways to do it. And this, because of technology, is an amazing way to do it. And now then it's no longer a black hole. It's actually a profit center. It's a measurable profit center. Good. You know exactly what's coming in. You know exactly what's going out. I think that's just. I
want to say this too, because there's a really important formula that we have for installing things inside a salon. It's got to work for the salon owner. It's got to work for the guest, and it's got to work for the stylist.
Yep.
right? Like this is a really important formula when you're looking at some of these things is, does it work for this? Does it work for the salon? Does it work for the stylist? Does it work for the guest? If it hits on all three of those, that's a really good day. And again, I think that's where, like, even as I say that, I'm trying to think of like, well, what would be the benefit, Doug, of like somebody bringing in like a water massage table inside the salon, because that's not really good for the massage therapist, right? But it might be, and
Mhm.
I'll kind of make an argument on this is why it might be good. Is it good for the salon to have an automated water table to do massages? Well, yeah, because it's got an employee that doesn't have to be paid, right? It's got a table, like that's the asset at that
It
point.
doesn't get sick.
Right. It doesn't get sick. It doesn't call out. Like, I mean, it still might break down, whatever. But like the idea
Mhm.
is that you've got an asset there. Now, I would make the argument because I've had those water table massages. They're okay,
Mhm.
but I still would like to have a real massage with a real person. And what I think is interesting is that would potentially allow you to charge even more of a premium or leave your price at a premium, and it would allow people to start to get massages at a higher level. So let's say, for example, Doug, and you were mentioned this before, is you might go, well, hey, a regular massage is $100 at our salon with a massage therapist, but a water table massage for a similar amount of time might be $50,
Mhm.
right? It might be $50. Now, would that potentially invite more people in that couldn't afford to have massages at $100? Potentially. So that's even good for the guest. You've got a lower priced option for the guest who's price conscious. You've got now a premium pricing that's been placed on the stylist who's actually doing the physical hands-on massage. That's a good day for them. And the salon now has two things, a person and a table, that are increasing the efficiencies inside the salon via that automation.
Right. And I think it also starts to bring in, so now then they've got an internal pool of people to bring up to hands-on massage. If you've
Yeah,
got,
they can
because,
upgrade.
right, the table is great for maintenance and that kind of thing, to get a regular maintenance massage. You have an issue, you've got someone that specializes in issue that can do, your trigger points, whatever other issues you may be having. And so instead of external marketing, now then you've got this whole list of people that are coming and getting water table
Great.
massage on a regular basis that are then wanting to have specific issues. And, oh, you've got someone that, okay, I think it all works together. So I say, you just got to be creative. You got to learn how to play the game a little bit differently, so that you can win. I think, look at many of those. And like I
Great
said, I think
example.
really we leave a lot of stuff on the table with automation. Another thing with technology is using people in other countries for assistant work. I think
Yep.
that goes widely with modern technology. It's very, even on different time schedules. You can get a VA and things can be done, and they're super happy
Right, and if
to
you don't
get.
if you don't know what a VA is, most of you guys do, but VA is virtual assistant, usually somebody who works in another country. I know people who have like Canadian VAs, or they have like, we have a ton of VAs that are on our team. We have a great crew of VAs that work on our staff that are just incredible humans that we get to pay from other countries, but it helps us to create massive efficiencies by hiring outside of the US.
Right, because they're, for them, being a VA in their country is one of the higher paying jobs that they can get.
That's right.
But compared to what you would have to pay for a live person to come sit in your office to be there, it's significantly less. So you're
Right.
helping out someone in another country, giving them a high paying job, and you're helping your company out by not putting stress of a high paid job inside of your physical business.
Yeah. So if you think about that, and again, this is where we talk about efficiencies inside a company. We talk about why does an average salon, only 7% of salons make a profit, and if they're lucky, they're making 3 to 5% as a profit. But we have salons inside our academy that are doing 10, 20, and 20+% profit margins inside their salon. And it's because they're finding ways to create new efficiencies for what they do inside their business. Sometimes that's automation, right? In technology, and sometimes it's outsourcing some of the jobs. So if you're having a hard time, like you might be trying to hire somebody to do your social media marketing for you, and if you had to hire somebody locally to do that, that's one price. But if you were to hire somebody who's overseas to help you with that social media marketing, you just send images to, and they clean them up. Maybe you got a graphic designer, maybe you have a video editor, maybe you have other people that can do that job. To your point, Doug, while you're sleeping, that's my favorite part, is like I work on stuff during the day, I send it out to the team, and then tomorrow morning I show up and all this work's been done while I'm sleeping. It's one of my favorite things that exists when you start doing things like that. And so all of a sudden, with these efficiencies that you're creating, you're going to create more of a profit margin, because now you can hire 3 or 4 people to do the same job that in the US you could have one person do. And that's obviously going to create some more efficiencies and either give you more leverage to be able to do more with it, or at the very least reduce your income so you can actually create more profit for yourself and for your shareholders that are inside your business. So you can continue to grow and create more jobs and expand to multi-locations and do all those things. Doug, we kind of mentioned it earlier, and we got a few more minutes here. before we wrap the podcast, I want to talk about software and automation tools, because, Salon Scale is one, obviously they're a sponsor for us, but that's a huge version of automation. I think your salon software probably automates way more than you know. For example, this is kind of like basic, but if you're not doing this, like, please wake up, right? Is that you shouldn't have a front desk person who has to call every single person on the list for the day and verify them 24 hours, 48 hours in advance. Like, if you do not have text messages that are verifying with people leading up to their appointment, even the day of, making sure they have an appointment and confirming, and like you have some sort of automated confirmation process in your salon using your salon software, and you're doing it manually, that's a loss of efficiency. That's a massive loss of efficiency. I'll give you another one. If you do not have a set and forget follow-up sequence from the appointment forward, meaning that if you like following up with them and saying, hey, I just want to check in with you. How's your hair doing? What's it looking like? And then a couple weeks later, reminding them of some new promotions, or a few weeks after that, reminding them things. We talk about how do you have a 90-day follow-up sequence after you have a new guest to make sure you retain them as a new guest. That's something that should be done through an automated sequence, not through a physical person. See, most people are like, well, we have a front desk person, and their job is to check in and out customers, call and do all the confirmations, make sure that they're reaching out to new customers, so they're aware of promotions. You guys, there's whole marketing systems that are designed specifically to allow you to do that. And again, when you do that at scale and you create a really good automated sequence, you can have thousands of people followed up with in one moment from an hour's worth of work on your software, as opposed to 10, 20, or 30 hours worth of manual work by that same front desk person, right? I mean, it's massive. Yep. It's massive. Can you think of some other things, Doug, from an automation perspective, as far as time and efficiency that's inside the business that we might be missing here?
Well, I mean, I think some of it is just continuing to look at the things that are coming out. I mean, like, this will sound a little strange, but like the Roomba, which,
that's a great example.
Vacuums your floor. And what's cool about now, they've got one where it's got this station that it'll go around. And I mean, if you have it, you can't run it after hours unless you turn your motion sensors off, because it will set off the motion sensors on your alarm system. Found that out firsthand.
But the one that self-dumps, is that what you're talking about?
Right. So it's got tires, so it will self-dump. So it's not, you don't have to say, well, it gets halfway around my salon, it's full. Well, it'll go and it'll dump. And it's got a pretty good sized bag in there that holds it. But I mean, that is a great way to make sure that your salon, so it's not, I mean, obviously you're still going to be sweeping that needs to be done during the day and all this stuff, but you can set Roomba free.
You just make it that much cleaner.
Right. Because, and also now then, the technology, again, has gotten so good in those that it actually maps out your building after a while and learns how to travel it and do it in the best pattern possible.
So again, the efficiency is built into the thing itself. I mean, again, it automatically is making the efficiencies based upon that.
Yeah, I think it just being aware right now. I mean, I think you need to stay on top of all the different things with your software company, find out what they're doing, what you can take advantage of. Work with your leadership team on, hey, what are some repetitive things that we think we could outsource? Or there again, what are new things, new treatments that are coming in that are push a button and go? There again, there's a lot of revenue that doesn't require an actual person there. And I think, how does that benefit what we do? I mean, I think
how do you leverage the tool to allow you to have more efficiency? I mean, and for crying out loud, like, I mean, we do things inside our business all the time. Even just social media as its own point of leverage. And I'll leave you with this thought, right? And I've said this before in some of the trainings that I do, but if you post a 5-minute video, and I'll leave you with this thought, if you post a 5-minute video on your social media about your services and what you do, or maybe you shoot a 5-minute video that explains a soft tour through your salon, as an example, a 5-minute video viewed 500 times is equal to a 40-hour work week. 5-minute video viewed 500 times equals a 40-hour work week. So if you put out a video with a tour of your salon and it gives 500 views on it, that means you did 40 hours worth of work of people watching your video instead of being inside your salon and you having to give 40 hours worth of tours through your salon. Like, be aware of how, I don't think most people understand. They just think, I'm supposed to post on social media because somebody said it was a smart thing to do. But if you really understand the efficiencies of what social media can get you, what it can do, how it can leverage, and what type of attention you can get from doing those things, it can be one of the most powerful resources that you have at your disposal of leveraging your time. Guys, if today was helpful for you and you got a lot of value, do me a favor, say value in the comment section, or do me a favor and if you want to go way out of your way, because I know you got to 5 clicks on this one, is give us a rating on any of your favorite podcast channel, however you're listening to us on. It would really mean a lot. And if we can help you out with efficiencies, because again, that's what we do inside the Academy, is we help you find efficiencies. We bring you the latest, greatest stuff up to the minute of what's going on. We don't teach you what was cool 30 years ago. We teach you what was cool in the last 30 days. And that's what we're going to help you to do, is create more efficiencies, create more profit, happier employees, and create enough efficiencies you can actually take the time off that you want. So do me a favor, enjoy some more podcasts, and thanks for being on today. Thanks, Doug. Have a good one, guys.
Yep. Take care, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Evo Revo podcast.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Salon Scale, allowing you to charge by what you know, not by what you feel.
Please subscribe, leave us a review, and you can always get more information, including show notes and the video episodes at evorevopodcast.com.